Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we got a guest today. He's going to be in the video. But I want to do a video on the 2023 KLX 300R. Mainly, I got this bike because I want to do some motocross with it and some trail riding, and price point was there, had the features I was looking for. I was like, I'll get it. Cool, I got it. Idea of the video here is, I've noticed after having it that there's a few mods that you can do that may give the bike some more power. I haven't confirmed if these mods are going to give the bike more power or not, but today I'm going to walk you through it, and then maybe I'll do another video in the future and we'll see how it does. It's raining outside right now, so I'm not going to run it out there to confirm today, but we're going to go through the mods and we're going to do them. So yeah, riding the bike, what I noticed is when I would go into some of the turns, I'd come out of the turns, you know, there'd be some jumps there, and I wouldn't have the speed that I needed or the power coming out of the turns to be able to do some of the sections. So the only option that I had was get better at those turns and maintain higher corner speed so I could roll through the turn faster and have a higher exit speed and be able to then roll out of the turn and do the section. So want to show everybody these mods. I'm going to do them and see if maybe they help me out a little bit. If they do, cool. If they don't, well, we tried. But some of the features on this bike that I like, though, that I want to point out real quick. You know, it's a trail bike to me, and also kind of like a little bit of a motocross bike. I mean, it's definitely not like a KX 450 or a 250 from a horsepower standpoint, a suspension standpoint, probably even weight. But for almost half the price of that bike, pretty good bang for the buck. And you know, I'm not a dude out there hitting 100-foot jumps, so I don't necessarily have to have a machine like that. But I like the idea of the suspension that's on the front. You know, a lot of the trail bikes have the suspension that's up here, and this has the more motocross style suspension, so I like that feature. I like the feature that it's liquid cooled and not air cooled. That's important to me. I like the idea that it has disc in the front and it has disc in the back, and it does not have a drum in the back. So disc in the back, disc in the front, the nice suspension in the front. It's liquid cooled. So those are some really great features. A lot of the competition out there, they don't have those features. You're talking the upside down forks, drum in the back, air cooled, and all of this with a really great price point. I think it's pretty cool. Sorry, this little man's squeaking a little bit. So that stuff is great on the track. Now let's get into the mods. So here's what I want to do and what I want to show you. I've ridden this bike like one time. I just took these bolts out just to make life a little easier. They're 10 millimeter bolts. One here, one here, one here, one here. Take them out. Okay. Remove those. And then here's the Airbox mod. So you'll notice you've got like this snorkel deal directing air in and down. We're going to take this out and just leave this open to allow air to free flow into the Airbox to remove a potential air restriction, especially with this thing being narrow and having this 90-degree turn. We don't know, but I'm thinking that that could potentially cause an air restriction going to the engine, kind of choke it a little bit. And then the other thing that I noticed is this air filter is not greased. Thank God I wasn't riding in super dusty conditions, so I'm gonna have to get some filter oil, remove that baby, put some filter oil on it, grease it, reinstall it. But today we're gonna be just doing these mods here. So this thing comes out, we're gonna take it out, and what I'd recommend doing is I sprayed a little WD-40 around here to make it a little bit easier to remove, because this is kind of like a rubber base and plastic. You don't want to break the plastic. You know, rubber can grip stuff pretty good. So when you put the WD-40 in there, it make it a little bit easier for you to push this thing through, because that's essentially what you got to do to get this thing to come out like so. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take this out, take it out of the box, okay, like that. And then we're going to reinstall that plate and give us a little bit more open airflow. All right, so we're going to do that. That'll open her up. I had a RM125 when I was younger. And what you see right there is pretty much the way the airbox was. They're open, just like that. So if your brain is saying it came from the factory, it must be on there for a reason, I'm OEM kind of guy and all that, and don't get me wrong, I am too, for the most part. But also having the mindset of knowing how an engine operates, they need to be able to breathe, both on the intake side and the exhaust side. And anybody will tell you the best bang for your buck, if you're on a budget, or maybe, you know, a dirt bike, having high performance is not like the hugest priority in your life. But if you could invest a little bit of time or a little of no money and get a I should say respectable return on your time investment, then this may be it. So the goal here is going to be allow the engine to be able to take in more air, and then also be able to allow the exhaust to breathe so the exhaust can get out, so we can get the air into the engine and get it out. That should give us some more performance. All right, so that's done. All right, so we've done that. Now the next thing that we're going to move on to, now that we've got that done, is we're going to do this this pair valve delete. That's what it's called. It's right here. So the pair valve is apparently an emission control device that's on here that is going to allow oxygen, filtered air from the airbox, to go through this tube into the exhaust side of the engine, and injects oxygen into the exhaust to, I guess, burn up any unburned fuel particles that may make their way into the exhaust. What happens is when you're letting up on the throttle, say going into a turn or something, you know, you probably notice the bike might kind of backfire a little bit. This will clear that up and get rid of that. So we're gonna delete it or remove it and see what happens. So it's up on this little hanger, and just to make life a little easier, I've already kind of broke this hose loose. But to do it, you can move it up off the bracket, and there's a little tab right here. You push down for this 2-wire connector, disconnect it, pull this hose off, and we're gonna cap this hose. All right, so to cap this hose, we're gonna take this little PEX fitting, 1/2 inch, put in the hose, just like so. You just push it in there with your finger. There's no real pressure in here, so I don't even think you need to put a zip tie on it. I mean, this hose didn't even have a clamp on it, and it was just sitting on that valve like that. But we will put a zip tie on it just to do it. So doing that, okay, just like so. Now we'll go over to the other side of the bike. Now I'll tie that hose up on the little bracket up there. Most likely is what I'll do in that connector. Now let's go over to the other side of the bike, and then I'll show you the rest of the pair valve delete, and then we'll take a look at the exhaust. We'll talk about the exhaust. So the pair valve, it's right here. You got this hose. This hose runs all the way back to the airbox, and it gets filtered air. I just moved this clamp back and took like these pliers, slid it in, slide the hose off. Okay. I'll take this off here. And then you can just take that right out if you want to clean it up. All right, now we need to take care of the situation with the airbox, because that right there, you leave that like that, this opening, and you're gonna have unfiltered air getting sucked in there, and you're gonna ruin your engine in no time flat, and that's just gonna be god awful. So we've got this plug right here, vacuum plug, so to speak. And that's right there what you're covering up. Just push it over, just like that, all the way on, okay? And then zip tie right here. Probably don't even need the zip tie, but zip ties make us feel good, right? Isn't that why we buy them? I mean, they do stuff, but definitely feels good. Come on over here, Bear, or Bo. Definitely feels good to install a zip tie from time to time. Okay, cut it. All right, pair valve basically is complete. That's done. You know, and the cool part about this whole thing is, this was like $2 from Lowe's, and here, can you get up from it? Thanks. And I got this little vacuum thing assortment from the auto store. They got them back there. I found a cap that works perfect. So I mean, from a risk standpoint, the initial investment from money is like next to nothing, probably like $8 total, you know, and a very small amount of time invested to perform this delete, to clean up a little bit. So last thing we'll talk about, so we're breathing more here, at least we hope. Pair valve delete should allow us to remove the snap or the backfire in the exhaust. That's gone. Now the next thing is the spark arrestor. I took the 3 Allens out. This piece will come off, and then you will see, looks like Bo wants to be in spark arrestor part of the video, and then you will see this. You could take a pair of, it's not going to be that easy for you. You take a pair of channel locks, you can kind of see my marks right there, and work it back and forth. You'll have to work it from side to side like this to work it loose, and then it'll slide out. Okay, like that. So the idea is to let the engine flow more exhaust out. So you got a bigger opening, and with this in there, you can see how small the diameter of that tube is for the exhaust on this bike, because the exhaust has to go through here and then out this little tube. So when you're in the higher RPMs or you're really going and you've got a flow exhaust, you are going to be restricted with this. But with it removed, you'll have a larger opening, which will not allow you to have a restriction, and you'll be able to get that exhaust out. So that's pretty much the deal. Now you can take this plate, you know, from a look standpoint and reinstall it if you want to, and you could probably even open the plate up and put it on there. You could probably do that. And then if you did, if you open the plate up like so it matched this circle hole and reinstalled it, I mean, I guess that would probably look good. You could do that. And I would think you would still be able to use your spark arrestor, because this whole thing's flat right here. So even if this is cut out, it'll still, when the spark arrestor's in, it should still function. So you got to wash her like a little O-ring right there where it seals. So that's the deal. That's what I did. I haven't ran this thing at all, you know, to really know what it, I mean, what it even sounds like. I can crank it up real quick in here. I mean, we're inside a garage, and so it's going to be loud. I mean, probably you're not going to get a true, yeah, stand up there with the dog if you don't mind so he doesn't get scared. So you're not going to get like a really true idea to really be able to tell, but we'll crank it up. Yeah, get back, buddy. I got to push the button. All right, here we go. definitely is a lot. I mean, there's like a wall right there, so it really echoes big time. But it's going to be more to be able to tell, obviously, when the tires are on the ground and we're in a gear and we're rolling, to be able to tell how it's going to feel, if it's going to flow more. But and I mean, I just cranked it up cold, literally, and did that. So I mean, it was a little, when I was hitting it a little bit, it was kind of, I don't want to say bogging, but I mean, it needed to warm up and whatnot. But anyways, that's what I want to do. That was the video. We'll do the little ride here without this piece in and see. I mean, I'm not real sure what that was there for. Like I said, the only thing I can think is just to restrict airflow in. So we'll let a little bit more in, let a little bit more air in, let a little bit more exhaust flow, and maybe it'll give us a little bit more power and run a little bit better. And then we'll go from there and we'll see how it is. I'll do another video maybe in the future of riding, and I can give you guys a little bit of feedback on the performance of it and go from there. Thanks for watching.